Well, happy Friday, everyone. 7:06 is our time right now. All right, 7:06, and we're looking live out. This is, of course, Brush Creek and the plaza, and we've got wet streets out there. We have a lot of rain. Some of it's heavy. We've had flash flooding. We've had a couple severe thunderstorm, a severe thunderstorm warning. And the concern again tonight is, will we see more dangerous weather? And the possibility is there. All right, so we're not out of the woods. I know this is round number 4. We had the round last week, the 1 in 200, 1 in 500 year flood event, and some of us may have had that again today, actually, east of Kansas City. I'd have to go back and look into that. Then we got hit on Monday. We got hit last night, and tonight is another round. So the concern is that we've got heavy rain and thunderstorms have already developed and caused flash flooding south of Kansas City. Is this going to expand as we go deeper into the evening? So far, nothing widespread has been super heavy. It's kind of been localized, but we're seeing ingredients come together, and what that can do moving into this evening is cause an expansion in the heavy rain, and that can cause a bigger flash flood threat. So that and severe weather. We're going to be watching for some severe weather. When does the tornado threat expire? That's good because we do have a tornado threat tonight too. Now, the setup is storms are wanting to fire up along the stalled boundary, the same front. We've got a front in the area that has been here for a couple of days now. And when storms fire up around that, there's already extra spin. So a front just has spin around it. And then if you get a storm that fires off of that can take that spin and stretch it down to the ground, and you can get brief tornadoes to form. So these would, they'd be brief, they'd be on the low end of, tornado strength, but, we could have some tornadoes, some quick, like short fuse tornado warnings could fire. That threat is going to be really up until midnight at the latest. Honestly, till 10 is going to be, 9 or 10 is going to be most likely the kind of prime window. It's not a high risk any stretch, but that would probably be our best shot between now and about 9 or 10 p.m. But best shot up until midnight. After midnight, it transitions away from a severe threat and into a flood threat. Anything for Lee's Summit? Yeah. So I've got Facebook questions and comments, and you can ask yours. I'll try to get to as many as I can. And for Lee's Summit and anywhere, okay, anybody that is watching this, except way southeast of Kansas City, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot. You could have some rain tonight, and the threats are the same for everybody, where we could have flash flooding and we could have strong to severe thunderstorms. Gusty winds would be the bigger concern, the more likely thing to happen, but a few brief tornado warnings. That is all around the KC metro. If you can drive to KC and be here in 45 minutes, that's you. All right, you're included in that. Okay? Same thing. Baser, yep, you're same thing. Belton, same thing. All that same thing. So I'm going to show you the forecast radar, though. I'll walk you through kind of timing for your area. That may change a little bit, but the risk level is all about the same. Okay, let's get to it. So we've got dual hazards this evening. Let me show you the severe. All right, so this is a level 2 out of 5 severe risk. And within this zone, let's get your, there we go. Level 2 out of 5. So this would be within this zone. We could see some damaging wind bursts, 60 miles per hour. We had that earlier in Miami County. That was near Paola. And then also, like I said, a brief tornado can't be ruled out. Let me see. I don't know if I can draw on this or not. I don't think it'll let me, but we'll try. Not real good. So anyway, I was going to try to draw on this and show you where this boundary is. And essentially what this does is kind of you can imagine if you just kind of run a line across the middle of that yellow zone, that's where the storms are firing, and that's where we could get some spin, a little bit of spin. So we're going to be watching that. And then the other threat is the flood. All right, flood threat, flash flood. And we've already got swollen streams and creeks, and the ground is soaked in spots. It just can't take anymore. All that causes it to flood much more easily. In some spots, we get a half inch of rain and we get flash flooding. I'm serious, like a half inch is all they can handle. That goes through 4 o'clock in the morning. We need to be ready for another round of Rapid stream and creek rises. If you're in one of those areas that is vulnerable and you're next to a stream, a creek, a low-lying area, be ready that tonight you could have rapid water rise. It's possible. If you're going to be out driving around, know that we could have some flooded streets. Last night we had, and this morning we had like 10 water rescues in Kansas City. We had one earlier in Miami County. That was this afternoon. And we had water like going into houses again. That was in Cass County. This has been a thing here lately. So we're not out of the woods again tonight. We got to watch that. Okay, so here's radar. And so far had a little bit of struggle. We've had some strong cells. This one that's dying down, it's gone now. But you can see the one that prompted the flash flood warning in Paola. It's that one that just goes up toward Lewisburg and then goes poof. Okay? But look behind it. That goes till 12:15, by the way, just after midnight. This is the problem. You've got another one coming in. And you're already seeing flash flooding, and now you've got more heavy rain that's diving in. So Garnett and back toward Richmond and Williamsburg, like riding right along I-35 is where this kind of focuses, and that goes with some of the risk levels that I just showed you. All right, so let's pull the view out even a little bit more. I'll go to the big radar. There we go. You can see that line. See how it's all in like a line that, again, points to Kansas City? So the thinking with these is they're pointed at us. They're going to be in our general area. So from, right along 35, pointing toward Kansas City. Right now, it's on the light side. It's manageable. But this will potentially increase in intensity as we go through about, the next 2, 3, 4 hours. And then it might try to lift north. We might start to get, there's going to be something that we call a low-level jet that gets going, and that can push this boundary northward and the storms with it. And you can already kind of see, like up here by Topeka, we might start, and we don't know this, see this lift north. Let me show you this. 24-hour rain totals. And these will highlight the areas that are most susceptible. Who's most like, if you get any rain, you're going to get flash flooding. Around, this is Miami County. I'll pull the view out here. Any of these like bright spots, these hot spots that you see, if you get hit by a thunderstorm, it may only take one and you've got flash flooding. Now, if you get a couple of them, you get a real heavy, slow one, you could have big problems. Look at some of these are estimated numbers, but they get us in the ballpark. 7, 6, 5, 8, up there by Leavenworth, 6, as high as 10 inches in some spots over just the past 24 hours. So this hardest hit corridor on the Missouri side, on the south side of KC, east of KC, north of I-70 running toward Richmond, and then northwest over by Leavenworth. Those are the hardest hit zones. Those are the spots that if you get hit tonight with more rain, heavy rain, you're likely to see some flooding. Now you run westward on 70 like by Lawrence and Olathe, you can take more. You're not as likely to see flash flooding. It won't happen as quickly. So that's the setup. Now let's go to the forecast radar. Ooh, let's take you to the other one. All right, here's our forecast radar. And notice what it has. So here we are, 7. It's got that, that line of rain that's pointed kind of at KC, riding along I-35, and see how it kind of tries to push the focus more northward. Now, we still have heavy rain in our area, meaning the Kansas City metro, through about 11 or midnight. And notice that bright pink spot over there by Lawrence. We don't know that that'll be there. That's just saying that it's possible that we have a strong storm up until midnight. But we might start to transition. Kansas City would go from being on the north side of the heavy rain and that rain channel to being on the south side, but still within it, up till about midnight or so. After midnight, it looks like it really does start to try to target north, like into St. Joe and Cameron and Bethany and Maryville and spots like that. So let me run this back for you one more time. It's doing a pretty decent job of showing where the rainy channel is, that line of storms, starting to lift more northward. So we're going to watch if that's how it plays out. That's what our latest stuff is telling us. So that would put Kansas City in the flood risk until about, midnight, 2 o'clock at the latest. And then it should really, we've got a flood watch till 4. I'll show you that here next. But there you can see by 2 o'clock, if it plays out like this, then we would see our flood risk coming down after 2. We've got that little hot spot there that shows up like 3 o'clock right there. That on the spot that's been hit hard in Kansas City on the eastern side, have to watch for something like that. But generally, the big action's moving north. Now, here's Saturday. Morning looks rather dry, looks all right. But then here comes some afternoon. Ooh, don't know what's going on there. Our computer's putting out some heavy rain. I don't know when that's an error that it's showing. We could see some scattered afternoon storms on Saturday. It doesn't look like a flooding threat at this point. It just looks like regular scattered afternoon storms. So here's our flood watch. It goes through 4 o'clock. Now, if you're south of Kansas City, let me pull this down a little bit. Butler, Clinton, places like that, you're not included in that. Although we did have, again, Miami County in Kansas, you had flash flooding. So it's just not quite as likely that we see a lot of rain there tonight. So here's the 7-day. And 87 for tomorrow, the high temperature. So clouds are going to, and a few spotty showers, about 40% rain chance. It's going to trim our highs back a little bit. Sunday, 91. It could feel as hot. Look at this computer forecast. It says it feels like 106 by 4 in the afternoon. It's still super humid. The reason why we've had this heavy rain is because the amount of water in the air that, you feel that in the humidity. It's one like measure of it is the dew point. But the whole column of air all the way from the ground to the top of the atmosphere is holding so much water. It's at record levels. It's something that we only see about this much once every 5 to 10 years. So if you're wondering why are we seeing so much rain and all the flooding, that's a big part of it, is just how juiced up the atmosphere is. We got all this high octane fuel. It's not common. Monday and Tuesday, 94 could feel as hot as 110, 105 to 110. And then our next, so the first one for heat on Monday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, here comes another round of storms. These could be strong. We'll watch for that. But the bigger thing, I think, with it is that breaks up the heat wave, and then it turns awesome. All right, Thursday, Friday, temperatures in the low 80s with low humidity. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So there's the breakdown. I imagine we've got some questions over here. Let's take a peek. Yeah, Belton, Baser. Baser, you've probably got a higher rain chance as we go deeper into the night than, say, Belton. Belton does for the near term. So let's get back to our radar. So here in the near term, yeah, Belton could see it, and Baser too. So we got to watch this cluster of heavy storms here. And the question is, again, are these going to blossom and kind of expand? And we're thinking that they may. But I'm seeing more of that trend northward over here by like Topeka. This kind of cluster here is really, that wasn't there long ago, and now it's starting to fire up. So if we go to the forecast radar, and you can see what I'm talking about, how that lifts northward. And also here, let me show you this. I didn't show you this earlier. This is where the computers, or one computer, this is a computer simulation, as we go through the evening and tonight, is targeting the heaviest rain north. So just see that bullseye. All right, so watch. There you can see. We have clusters around our area through midnight. So Belton, Baser, anybody that's in the Kansas City metro. But the more like focus is shifting northward. So that's where we drop like Paola and Lacine and Ottawa, where it is now. You just see the trend here. And it turns more north focused with the metro on the south side of it. And then after that, it turns even less so as it starts to, again, move. So we're thinking a northward trend. Sedalia, you guys, I think you'll be all right in Sedalia. I mean, I'm not saying you won't see any rain, but not nearly as much. Tomorrow looks not bad. I mean, I do still see some scattered rain at times. It doesn't look like flooding, a big flood threat, anything like that. We might finally be done with the flood threat as we lift this boundary going north. And that should take the bulk of the rain and heavy focus with it. We just see some scattered, showers. Might be a little lightning. Be aware that your afternoon and evening could have a little rain that disrupts your plans outside, but upper 80s is not bad tomorrow. The Platte County Fair. Yeah, similar story. We're going to have showers and storms around for Platte County. and it's just kind of off and on. So, right now it's on the lighter end. It's kind of manageable. The question is, where will that heavy rain set up? Nobody can tell you that. Will you get heavy rain in Platte County? Nobody knows. It's possible. Leavenworth, same story. KCK, same story. Like where it's going to be around everybody. You can kind of see. Could you get it in Platte County? Could you get it in KCK? Yes, we could. But it's these. See how small? Like, look at the hot spots here. That's kind of how we're thinking it's going to be. It's not just a big blanket where everybody's getting smashed with heavy rain. It's kind of isolated downpours and clusters that come through. All right. So that's the latest. We're going to have updates for you at 10 o'clock, and we'll see, how are we sitting by 10? Is this going to be we got to, really be on high alert through the night? We might be. I think by 10, we're going to have a pretty good picture of how the rest of the night's going to play out, because this next hour to 2 hours is going to be pretty telling in how these storms are they going to want to blossom and fire, or are they still going to struggle? If they still struggle, and are they going to continue their northward trend within a couple hours, we should have a pretty good beat on that. So the 10, and we'll have new computer forecasts to show you that too with the First Warn Future Radar. That'll update. So we'll have a better shot at figuring out exactly how this plays out by then. So we'll bring it to you. In the meantime, I hope you have a great weekend. I hope that your house doesn't flood and that you don't run into any troubles. And have a great night. Kylie, the tornado threat for St. Joe. There is a threat for brief spin-up tornadoes, including St. Joe. It's not high for anybody. We just need to be aware that we could have some quick spin-up tornadoes, and we would break in immediately if that were to happen. So, and your phone would go off. If you've got your emergency alerts turned on, just make sure you do. They are from factory, unless you've turned them off. Then you'll be alerted if there's a tornado warning. It would be a brief spin-up type tornado. It's still a tornado, but they tend to be on the weaker side of tornadoes. That's the setup for this evening. That's what we're going to watch. So, okay, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night. Happy Friday. Take care.